No.
You forgot to unmute us.
Hi.
I was like,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah, I was in the comments so much that I forgot. I
To do
forgot
the
to do
show.
the background, to add us
Wow,
in, to
Ian.
unmute us.
Wow.
We should try that again.
Wow.
We should. Yeah, we should do that all again. Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's just magic. CDR, what do you mean open wide?
Open wide.
Woo! Here we go. I guess that's the gaping
The
maw of
more,
the
yeah,
strange flesh creature. We'll talk about
flesh
it. We'll
creature,
talk
the
about it.
more he's gonna get you. Wow.
Listen.
Great start.
This definitely should have been the creature episode, right? Right?
Well, this is my problem. Like, everything is a creature episode, and I was getting shit for, oh, that's not really a creature. We don't see it until the end of the episode, and we see this creature for like 10 seconds, and it's not a creature. It's human.
It's okay. Let's get to it later. We're not in it yet. What are we doing?
Not
Hi
in it
everyone.
yet.
Sorry to be Captain. More like Craptian. That's funny. We'll get. Oh. Did we hurt your feelings? Oh no, Captain. I survived Omaha, and my team got a trophy out of it. Good job.
Yay.
Is
Woo,
a human not a
sports.
creature? Yeah, save it for the show. Wait, we're on
It's
the
fair.
show. Save it.
It's fair.
You missed what?
Look at how your dogs.
What did you miss? Sarah, we literally started the show
Probably
after
missed
you
my
said
fuck up.
Oh, okay.
Look how perfect your dogs are.
Oh, the ads. Yeah, so there's no ads on YouTube. Something to keep in mind, I suppose, but we have turned off the ads. So the only ads that are playing on Twitch are the ones that Twitch demands, which kind of sucks. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah.
This is a great question. According to Memory Alpha, this episode premiered in the US September of 92, which makes sense because that's season 6, but didn't air in the UK until July 95, which is, I mean, that's a full year after TNG finished. So the answer is no. The lag wasn't always that big. We are talking, I think, like a month or two, but my dad was watching it live as it was being aired, and we didn't have a 3-year wait. But there were certain episodes that weren't allowed to be broadcast on the BBC.
What is one of them? The horror episode? That one?
Yeah, they cut that ending.
Effects.
Yeah, where they phase the guy and his body blows up. Didn't show that on UK TV.
Oh, when they phaser, not phase.
No, they phasered him, and then his like.
I heard you
explodes.
say phase.
Yeah, easily done. The other one they refused
that was a worm episode.
That was another worm episode. The other episode they refused to show was where Uhura and Kirk kiss. They wouldn't show that on British TV because 60s. But yeah, so the only reason,
really,
yeah, really,
no,
world wasn't ready for it, Danae.
Oh, that's such bullshit. Okay, let's.
Yeah.
How are you guys? Where's the cat? Did you get a mouse to go with the dogs? And the mouse.
The dog. What?
And the mouse. What mouse?
Oh yeah. Did you get a mouse? Like, because you're just adding animals.
I have this one.
Wop, 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 wop.
No.
I need that button.
But there's a conversation that I'm about to have with my neighbor again because they were on vacation briefly, which meant that it was my responsibility to feed the cat every meal to be sure and safe, as you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
And when enough days had passed between hearing from the neighbor and I had run out of the wet food, because they do like what Ian calls kibble, the dry food, and then like the wet food on top of it or kind of mixed a little bit with it. But only I was given no instruction on how often to feed the cat each item. So I opted for
I told you.
one part of wet. Yes, you did. Thank you. One part of wet once a day. That's it. And then he can just have kibble the rest of the day because he's not going to starve. Plus, again, he gets his special, little bit of goat's milk every day
Does.
in the morning only, because I can't afford to have him just on goat's milk all the time. Anyway, I text.
Because how expensive is the goat milk, Danae?
I don't want to talk about it, Ian.
No, I don't either.
It's my business.
Uh-huh.
It's my business, Ian.
Hey, Ian, can you just pop to Walmart and like get a couple things and some goat's milk as well? And I was like, sure, fine, I'm out. $5 for 1 liter.
But the cow milk was potentially giving him some tumbles in the tummy area.
Tumbles and tumblies.
So I didn't want to keep doing that. Anyway, I hadn't heard from the neighbor in enough days that I ran out of wet food. 2 more days passed, and I think I should say something, right? I text, hi, just letting you know that the cat is still very happy. I've run out of the wet food, and just let me know when I'm bringing everything else back over to you. And her response is, you can keep it. Which
the cat or the food?
Well, I have so many questions. So now I have invited her over this weekend to just say, like, so are you feeding him and I'm feeding him? Am I the only one feeding him? Because I don't want to overfeed him, and I'm sure
don't
that
double feed.
He's going to want to eat at both houses if possible. So
of course,
I don't have clarification if I'm feeding the cat now, and also I don't want to ask that over text. I want it to be like a regular conversation. So she's going to come over and see that I just ordered 48 containers of the wet food.
Of the Sheba one?
Yes.
Danae.
It was a better.
It was expensive.
It was a better deal than just getting like 12. You know?
Oh gosh, that's so much cat food.
It's so much, but I don't know if I'm supposed to be the one feeding the cat. You know?
That's amazing.
Ugh.
Oh no.
Why so much? Because it was the least expensive option. It is like the Sheba food is no joke.
Right. Just get more. You should have just got 96 of them. Yes, that's not the answer.
I thought about it, Eights. I did. I thought about going and just getting, I don't know.
That's amazing.
Captain, you need to update your name.
Oh, yeah, no, I just like Discovery. It's fine. Hang on, edit name. What's it going to be?
If the cat is an outdoor cat, I'm sure it's getting fed plenty, even of its own accord. There's a reason why felines are apex predators. Josh, you're not wrong. There's actually a situation that's not my animal story for the week. My animal story for the week takes place in my backyard. My lovely caramel colored Twix back here turned into a predator and went after a little freshly flying baby bird that didn't take off properly and had landed at some point on the back porch and was acting quite stunned and disoriented. And when it saw the dogs coming out on the back porch to go to the backyard, it managed to kind of like flap roll off of the porch, and Twix ran down before I could even like clock what was going on. He runs down and he starts to like get after the bird in the yard. And I am the kind of person that has a very booming voice when I get scared. And I got scared. I start screaming at my dog and then upon reflection, think about like, what do the neighbors think is happening over here in my yard? So for
dog
the next
attacking a small child,
right? For the next multiple times of going outside, which is now like, I think this is day 2.5 or something. I have to go out first to walk the yard to see if there's any baby birds, because it happened twice. My dog turned into a hunting predator, and I decided to have a conversation with him because I like to pretend that he understands English. And I say, Twix, it's a bird. This isn't. And then Twix says, it's in our yard. I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
And I say, it's a bird. You know,
not a flower.
You don't need to attack it. It's not going to hurt you. And he tells me that's not true, because as he was trying to get it in his mouth the first time, I left
my sex tape.
I have seen this. I've seen this on TV. I've seen this on TV. I have seen this on like documentaries. Out of the trees come adult robins dive
Yeah.
bombing Twix. So while I'm telling Twix that it's just a bird, he's like, no, they grow up and they get mean. I'm guarding the yard like I'm meant to.
Yeah, it's my job. This is why you got a dog.
I kind of push back a little bit. Like, I don't need you
Mhm.
to do that. This is gonna be the yard. And this isn't I'm not kidding, this is a legitimate conversation I'm having with the dog.
Yeah.
Obviously half of it's
Mhm.
mostly in my head, but I'm pretty sure if
Yeah.
you were there, this is what he would have been saying. Like, you would have
He's like kind of grunting and going. "Hurr."
I shit you not. Again, this is an R-rated podcast. From outside of the room struts in Thunderstorm, who has now delivered 2 carcasses of bird to the house.
Yeah.
And so he walks in and he's like, are we talking about birds and killing birds? Good job, Twix. And I'm like, I didn't
Get it,
need
buddy.
you to come in here.
The one time they bond.
And he sits down and his tail kind of twitches. And I hear the cat say, I understand what you're doing, Twix, and I appreciate it. And they have this moment where they look at each other and Twix kind of like rests his head down like he gets it. And I realize I've lost, So now I can't let the cat out because the cat now knows about the bird situation. So I literally purposefully keep the cat in the house as long as possible the last 2 days. And before letting either of them out, I walk the backyard because the little guys are coming out of the trees. And they're not little. They're like pretty massive. Like, poor mama's having to feed a pretty big old bird.
Mm-hmm.
And they've been down kind of like on the ground and Twix went after one twice, and I haven't found it, so I think it's fine. And when we talked about it with Iris, she's asking, well, is it okay? And so the story I'm telling
It is
that it's fine.
because the thing is, my
That's
perspective,
story today.
my perspective on this is that you're disrupting the circle of life. And what if this was a safe training ground for the mama birds and the daddy birds to train the kids how to dodge dogs in a controlled environment, and you're taking away the training dog. And now they're just out there in the wild with the actual like urban foxes and shit getting fucked up. Like, they know Twix isn't a threat. We can outrun that dog. He eats his own shit.
He had it, I'm pretty sure, in his mouth. Like, he was doing this thing where he was really close and the bird was just right
when he
here.
like tries to get a fly, he's like,
yeah, he was going for it. And I'm out there just screaming like there is death about to happen.
Yeah. It's amazing. Can I change the subject completely and do something gross? That could be gross.
How is a dog eating a baby bird not gross?
Well, it depends.
Oh, those are testicles.
So these
are testicles.
I have been
sick.
I have been pickling my own onions. Now I put these in here with garlic and chili oil and chili and other things 3 months ago. And I put I knew they'd be ready to eat when I got back from America, but I haven't opened them yet because I'm scared. Because I've never pickled anything on my own.
Are you gonna do it?
And I might do it right now because this is why you have a live show, right? I don't know if they look.
Going to?
Yeah, I don't know how they look, how they're supposed to look. I mean, I don't know. This is what I'm worried about. Honestly, this is genuinely what I'm worried about. I don't know that I sealed it correctly.
We need a why. Yeah.
Because I love pickled onions, and I've always wanted to do this. And my mum gave me 15 of these jars, and by golly, I'm going to use them.
You shouldn't talk so openly about pickling your onions.
It's fair. It's fair. So I'm going to do it. We're going to do a smell test first and see if I vomit. Shit, I don't want that. No. Botulism sucks.
Well, you know how like in this episode there's a nice WebMD moment. So let's just look up like food poisoning. Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen from eating bad pickles?
I mean, you're gonna vomit.
Are they supposed to be green? One of them's green.
How do you not know this already? How when you started this process, I literally was like, I'm not interested in that because I will eat a pickle. I'll eat a pickled egg. I've had a pickled egg before, and I did like that. That was nice.
Yeah, no,
But
pickled
like,
eggs are
there's
great.
pickled pig's feet, and I've never tried one of those, and I'm not interested.
Hmm.
And when you pickled onions, I thought, oh, I don't know, because I'm not an onion lover. I know some people can just take a bite out of an onion at Apple style, and I can't do. I could, but I don't wanna.
I mean, I'm going to open it.
Okay, but Sci-Fi Bunny brings up a good point. Maybe it's the end of the show so that you don't have like a major
Uh,
problem that happens.
Fine.
Is this the first time you've done this? That's a great question, Fly. But I assumed that you had done it already and you knew what you were looking for.
No, this is the first time I've done it. I just followed a recipe, and it
Okay.
said to seal it for 2 months,
Uh-huh.
but you can do it for longer, and then
Okay.
just eat it. There doesn't appear to be like mold or anything.
Well, that's good. How about scum?
There might be a bit of mold. Hang on.
How do you Can you do that on camera so we can verify?
Oh, sorry.
Is that mold or is that just like
It's hard to tell. I mean, they look pretty great, right?
Well, if you keep shaking it, the scum is disturbed, says Josh Zero, who is now apparently
Well, yeah, that's
the
true.
pro of this, but he's definitely not wrong. Oh, yeah.
But no, but that's chili
there's some
flakes and
stuff.
like pepper.
Okay. So there's chili flake. Yeah. What is the recipe? Tell us the recipe.
I can't remember. It was 3 months ago.
But isn't it in your phone?
No, it was on the internet. Hang on, let's get focused.
It did look like a spec. I agree. I don't want to take over the ship. I do need to lift up my chair though, because I'm
quite low down. Well, I'm completely out of
feeling
focus,
tiny.
so
That's okay. We're professionals.
I'm right here. I'm right.
Okay,
Focus.
Let's do this. Let's crack it open, Polly Walnut style. Get a good whiff. If you pass out, we've got our answer.
That's what it is.
Okay.
Can I? Hang on. Stop cam. There we go. Start cam. Damn it.
This is the show. Ian is in his YouTube beauty guru phase. Oh,
I really am. This is me.
The cooking channel that we always need.
Why
I guess.
Isn't
Lloydie,
focus.
You're brave. You're brave.
I think they look yummy.
And record. While he's doing that, I'll go ahead and give the quick update on the show. You guys are going to hear this in the recording, but we are going to be going podcast feed dark for a bit. We took some time to look at our schedule. The next live show is going to be the 9th of August, so we're going to take a chunk of a hiatus. But the week before, was it the 7th? I think it's the 7th, when the podcast usually releases on a Wednesday.
Wednesday the 7th, there will be an episode, yes.
We are going to be having an episode in your podcast feed. So the first episode back up will be on the 7th, and the first live show will then be on the 9th.
Correct.
Okay, so
that's us.
J.A., thank you for saying this. I appreciate that. Part of the problem is my microphone's doing something really funky. So, Ian, can you, on the back end, change the volume? Or is that something I have to do?
I can turn mine down. I don't think I can change
100.
yours.
What are you at?
Okay, let's have a look. Settings, audio.
Check.
Yeah, I'm at 100 too.
Okay, I'm going to go to 120, and you guys can tell me if that changes anything. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't hear anything different on my end, which is
fix
annoying.
Anything either. Like, my audio just tanked down to like from a nice big old sound wave to about like this, and I cannot figure it out. Like,
I fix it in post, but for the live show, I can't hear the difference. I just get your audio.
Just the entire show whispering for you guys. On the podcast, we have a way of leveling it so it all sounds even, but for the live show, it's going to be a little different. So let us know if you guys...
So I think what I'm going to do...
If you guys can hear our sound and if it sounds similar.
Yeah, let us know.
In volume, please.
I What I'm going to do, I'm going to open it and I'm going to sniff test. I'm going to do a sniff test and then eat it after the show.
Thank you, guys. Okay, can we do like a widescreen so in case you pass out, we can see more of it? Because
No,
I'm a good friend.
no, because I want to see your expression when I pass out.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh no, I'm not excited about this as I should be. Okay, there's a good. Whoa! Why am I zoomed in? Stop
I
it!
want to see what happens when you do this, and we need to see.
There's a good seal on this. Like it is sealed.
Oh, what if it sprays your eye?
Oh! It splashed on me.
Like, how did? I'm so nervous, and I'm not even there. I feel like I can smell it from here, and you're in a different country.
That smells incredible. That smells like pickled onions. That's gonna sound stupid, but that was my hope.
Okay,
It smells like pickled
Are
onions.
you skipping to the eating part because it
I
smells so
mean,
good? Are you hungry enough to
I
eat
don't want
one?
to put it on my keyboard. Okay.
You didn't bring any gear to eat it?
No, I'm just gonna use my fingers.
Okay. You're gonna stink the rest of the show, and it's gonna be amazing.
Fortunately, it's only gonna be for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, we're all smelling this right now.
Can you get that a waft of
Yeah.
that?
Can you just like waft it?
Okay, there we go. I mean, that looks all right, doesn't it?
It looks like a fucking eyeball, man.
Doesn't appear to be any
No
scum
fizz.
or anything on it.
Okay. No fizz.
Yeah, exactly. Fizz is a bad thing. Like if you see like when coleslaw starts fizzing, huh.
I thought you said cold sores start fizzing, and
Oh yeah, those
like,
two.
Really turned my
Okay.
tummy.
Cheers. Down the hatch.
Just total silence. I feel like we missed an opportunity to do some ASMR crunching noises or something, and we can't. The fact that you haven't said yet says a lot. Like,
Okay, yeah, I like the middle bit now. Well,
I mean, like,
to quote Guinan, it looks like he hates it.
it
Yes.
does.
I hate this. It is revolting.
What is it? What is revolting about it? Is it just vinegar?
Oh no, I was quoting data.
Oh,
I was
okay.
talking my tooth. Okay. That was delicious.
Oh, that was
But-
not the face of someone that was having a delicious experience. That was
No.
the face of somebody who was eating something and having to decide if you were going to puke or something.
No, that became delicious. I was expecting a really, really intense, like pickled, unsurprisingly, vinegary, like really strong pickled taste. That was really smooth. Like, so it wasn't what I was expecting. Like, I got the vinegar taste, but then I got like just a subtle bit of garlic. I got like the paprika that I put in there. I'm remembering what I put in there now that I can taste it. Garlic, pepper, paprika, a bit of chili flakes.
Polly. No.
But then, like, as I got to the end of it, it started like getting, like, the flavor got more intense. It's really good. Like that. Those are the best pickled onions I've ever eaten. They are delicious.
How many times have you had pickled onions?
Millions of times. Like, I'm a frantic pickled onion eater.
Cool.
Success. That was honestly delicious.
Slab. You quit it. I know you're tired and your back
Pickle.
hurts, but you stop it.
Honestly, like, I want some more.
It does. He did it again.
No, I just licked my fingers.
Oh God. I looked away.
I'm
for a
not
second.
kidding.
Mhm.
Those are delicious.
Okay.
Like the store-bought pickled onions are very in your face, very like tart. That is like a smooth pickled onion. What I would do is just add some more chili to it. It needs a bit more heat. That was delicious.
Well, I'm glad.
Yeah,
I
that
feel
went way
like you'd
better
have
than
a
I thought.
I feel like you'd have a harder time faking that.
Yeah, I mean, give it an hour.
Yeah.
But no, there wasn't like an
Oh,
immediate. Oh, I wish I hadn't done that.
yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was yummy.
people are going to want to know you're still alive.
Those were freaking good.
Oh my god, can you imagine?
Well, you'll
if
find
Dicer
out in
did it?
August. Oh, he'd hate this. He
In
would. He would.
August? I'll
He would
find out
hate
in
them.
August when
No,
your
the live
breath
chat
is
will
still
find out.
horrible. Oh.
The live chat will find out if I'm still alive in August.
Like at every single time that we ever see each other in person again from here out, it's just like there was before the pickled onion and then there was the after pickled onion. There is Ian's breath before and then there is Ian's breath after.
That's the side effect, is that my breath is never the same again.
Did you ever try Barry Norman's pickled onion sold through Sainsbury's?
No, I haven't. Sainsbury's is like a Walmart place, but it's just like kind of food stuff. Really.
I mean, I'm far more into the
Wow,
blueberry
Slab.
things going on. That sounds good.
Wow. Slab, that's very offensive.
Pretending.
You know wow.
Pretending.
Wow. You know I can't burp. These are amazing, by the way.
The comments, our chat room, yes,
Yeah,
they
it's
are
incredible.
amazing. Thanks for being here, everybody. As always, we're streaming on multiple platforms. We're on X, we're on YouTube, and we're on Twitch. On Twitch, we're on 2 channels, my personal channel and also the CinemaSins live channel, which is where most people are hanging out. If you are on YouTube, you might want to click on the live comments rather than the top comments, because sometimes there's comments that you miss because YouTube decides what's interesting and what's not interesting. We think all of what you say is interesting, and we wish that we could talk to you during the show, but we can't. We want to.
We do.
But we can't. We do pin your comments for later, and oftentimes you have the same exact thoughts that we do. We do try to put them up on the screen as we can kind of live produce them, but it is Ian and I throwing up comments and chatting and multitasking all at the same time, so we don't always get it right. We are an R-rated show. Wondering wants to remind everybody of that, because that's a very important thing to know. On this show, you'll see Ian sweating balls and eating pickled spheres.
It's going to be that kind of
Why are you
show.
so sweaty?
Am I sweaty?
Like,
no, I had
you
a hair
look
in
like
my way.
Maybe something. Okay, I am on Ian's tummy erupts watch at this point.
That tasted really great. That second one was even better.
Because you burned all of your taste buds on the first one?
Yeah, there was nothing left. I'm just going to wash it down with some Dr. Pepper.
Last week we saw a dog lick themselves. This is part of why the show is R-rated. We cannot control what the animals do.
Gonna happen.
And we will get to your comments later, including the one from Link asking about this. So we'll come back to this at the end of the show. You guys can think about it. And if you do want to comment on the sins or your thoughts on a specific scene, if you put, or like Danae episode, if you put like the topic, the first part of your comment, if you can, and then your comment, it makes it easier for us to kind of know when to pop up your comments during the show. That's right. You have to help us produce this show.
Yeah, you do.
Is it really R-rated? It feels more like 80s PG to me. You know, everybody has a different opinion, but you're probably not wrong about that. I don't. Ian's tummy. ... I don't know why I paused. Is that one of your new ships?
No, this is one of my old ships. Thank you for asking. This is the Pegasus, but it's the same class of ship as the Yosemite.
Here you go.
There we go. So this is the same ship that we see in the episode, the Yosemite, but this is actually the Pegasus. Your birth class is beautiful. How do you get down here, everyone? And why am I out of focus again? God damn it.
Because you're choosing to put little things on the screen in front of it, and then you expect your camera to be amazing. That's right. I'm the floating audio in the background. No, I was the narrator. Ding. Okay, we're ready to get going.
No, we're not, because I'm out of focus again.
It doesn't matter. This is a podcast.
That's fair.
We're gonna be recording with you guys the bulk of the episode for Realm of Fear, season 6, episode 2 of Star Trek TNG: The Next Generation, and then we're gonna come back to you guys live in a bit. Did I miss anything?
No, I can't remember how my ship goes back on my stand.
Wow. He does. He needs a cam for his ships, Link, and I need a cam for the pups. I also really want to get some music for the background because during this beginning and end, I just want something.
Let's get some
more
stock
than
music.
silence.
Let's do it.
Synopsis as ambassador. That's right, Sarah.
Not
We're gonna
yet.
be there, but we first have to wait for
magic to happen.
Magic to happen because Ian can't start the show unless he can look at himself clearly.
I need to be able to look at myself clearly. I'm beautiful. I don't know if this works. I don't know if anything has ever worked in refocusing my camera. Now I'm the floating audio in the background. I'm stuck in the transporter buffer. Surprise!
Here's a floating
wait,
worm.
wrong button. Surprise! I was trying to surprise the camera. Just grab hold of it, Worf.
Put your face close to the camera.
Okay.
And then slowly back up. That's probably too slow. Yeah, buy a better one, man. Get right on that.
Well, what's amazing is that I do have a better one. I have now 2 times in a row left it in Aaron's office. It's been there for nearly a year.
You should stop doing that, man.
I should bring this shit one to Aaron's office and bring back my good Razer 4K one.
You have a 4K Razer there? Never mind. Let's do it.
Let's do the show. Blah, 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 blah. Welcome to 10. Yeah, it's fair.
Welcome to 10.
Welcome to 10 Forward, the part of the show where we grab something from the replicator and share our immediate thoughts and feelings on the episode that we just watched together. Most important question first: what is your beverage or something of choice, Ambassador?
How is it
from the replicator
other than water today?
You just need lots of water. 10 degrees Celsius, please. Yeah.
Or
water for me too.
No. I changed my mind. I just want tequila, but with the worm inside of it. Because then it looks like water and it has the worm. So it's sort of like a combination of the both of them.
So much like Barkley and his plexing, you can placebo yourself into thinking that you're hydrated.
Oh, Barkley. Let's get into it.
Oh, Barkley. Let's go. Give us a synopsis, Ambassador.
Hey, if you want an episode that's all about transportationography, this is it.
You can't.
This is it. If there's
You're gonna say transporter porn. You can't say trans porn. That's a different thing. That's an entirely different category that already exists.
Okay. No, you're right. No, I can hear that now.
Yep.
Okay. Right. But so maybe we should just add Star Trek to the beginning of it.
Star Trek trans porn? That could be exactly the same thing.
Okay. No. I can hear it.
I'm here for it. It's just not describing the thing that you want it to describe.
This is the most anyone has ever talked about transporters in one episode. True or false?
True. I think it's true. I think this is the most transporter heavy episode.
Yeah. I think so too. This is an episode that you can watch on 1.5 speed. This is an episode.
Fuck. Ouch.
1.25. Okay, 1.2. I'll come down a quarter.
Okay, yeah. I'll meet you at 1.1.
But if you've ever gotten into a deep conversation about how transporters work, at least in the era of TNG, this is the number one episode that you want to watch. If you want to have a good amount of time in engineering, this is the episode for you.
Hell yeah. You're just listing a bunch of amazing shit.
If you want to see Picard little to none, this is the episode for you.
Okay, maybe not that one then.
But in this episode, the Enterprise goes to check out a science vessel that is investigating some plasma shenanigans. There's a stream.
And a birth class. science vessel.
Yeah, and then they realize that the plasma stream is a big river of creature stuff.
It's always life forms. It's
and
always
so
alive.
There's a little life form in there, but somehow the little life form gets into us as we transport, and then somehow it turns us into worms. And
We got those transport TDs.
I mean, that goes along with the
the best TDs.
buffer porn.
Last week.
Buffer porn?
Yeah.
Is that better?
The porn is buffering. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the buffer porn episode. That's what it is.
This is incredible. This is not where I thought this was going to go, and I love it.
Where did you think this was going to go?
A very technical discussion about the physics of transporters.
Well,
Thank
that's in here
you.
too.
Very technical debate about how that's not how they work.
But at the center and the heart of all of this is TNG predicting the future, where we go to WebMDB and we assess our own selves and get freaked out by medical problems that we may or may not have, isolate ourselves from the public, and don't ask for the proper help until we've collapsed on the floor in front of a warp core.
Yeah. I mean,
that's
great summary.
Today's episode. Thank you.
That's it. How do you feel about your prediction? Did I fulfill it enough? Was your open more with the teeth and stuff? Was it enough?
There was no teeth, so no.
There were little teeth.
Those
little
were
teeth.
gummy worms.
Tiny. Look, hang on.
They're
I've got
gummy
a great
worms.
picture that I'm going to show you here.
Okay.
Hang on. Okay. There's tiny little teeth on it.
Okay, for the record, the image that Ian is now showing, oh beloved audio listener, is the worm like creature that was made for the creation of this show.
By Dan Curry. Held by Dan Curry.
So it looks like it's the model. Maybe like a clay model or something where it's been carved out. Not from the actual episode.
No, it is from the actual episode.
No, this picture is not from the episode, is what I mean.
No, it's not. No, but he did stick his hand in it, and then was the person just wiggling it around.
There are no teeth. There are no teeth.
There are little tiny teeth. You can see them.
No, you can't.
It's
can't
like
see teeth.
one really long, wide tooth where the gums are. Look where the gums would be. Those
are gums, Ian.
That's where teeth are.
No.
Yeah.
No. I mean, it's a really cool looking worm. So this would be like, if we're gonna have to rank on whether it's like a pass fail, this is a fail.
Oh,
I'm sorry, that's not what I saw, but it's okay because I understand why you picked
close. Okay, I got a little bit close. Well, to be fair, this is the one that the live chat picked, so we're going to blame the live chat.
Oh, I see how this is gonna go.
Yeah, it was definitely the live chat.
Yeah.
So, Ambassador, overall thoughts and feelings about the episode before we get into some details. Did you enjoy it, regardless of the accuracy of my predictions?
Yeah, I think I did.
Extrapolation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like it's in the medium category. I do like that we had a mystery to solve.
Yeah.
I do like that we have a unique character. I don't remember this Berkeley character.
Barkley? Yeah, this
Barkley?
might be, you've seen him in the background somewhere, but this might be the first time that you've properly seen him like full force. In fact, I'm certain it is. Yeah.
I will say I found it to be a bit long. Like I kind of felt like it could have moved forward at multiple points.
Yeah.
So, but I think that they were trying to kind of ride the wave of transporter conversation. This is an episode for the fans, in my opinion.
Are you kidding? 100%.
This is years of hearing transporter questions and being tired of it. And then writing an episode to answer those questions.
Well, this is an episode that's kind of disbanding any kind of notion you had if you thought you understood how transporters worked. This undoes basically everything about how we thought transporters worked. This is not explaining transporters. This is undoing so much.
Oh, great. Great. Well, I mean, as somebody who didn't understand it in the first place,
It's probably great for you.
I I was like, okay, but there's so much technical jargon in this particular episode as they attempt to do all kinds of things. And we talked about there's some pads, there's some backups to the pads, there's some there's there's that's, and it's a lot of it. But there's some interesting things in this episode too. It does the thing that I really love. It happens in Strange New Worlds. We've talked about it there as well, which is when the captain asks his crew for information, and the crew is like when
Barkley,
Barkley bark
Barkley,
like a dog. Okay,
like Barkley, yeah.
broccoli. Is that why the chat is saying broccoli?
So there's an earlier episode where people are calling him Lieutenant Broccoli, and Captain Picard says this stops here and now. We're not going to be bullying other crew members. Stop it. Lieutenant Barkley comes up to him, Worf, Geordi, and Data and gives a report. And Picard sincerely says, "Thank you, Lieutenant Broccoli."
On accident?
Completely on accident.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And he's
oops
horrified. And Data's just like, "Don't worry, sir. It's a very common mistake."
I don't remember
It's
this
hideous.
character very much. I mean, I remember his face, but I don't remember
Yeah.
ever having like this much
He
time.
was like, he's not even a background actor like O'Brien, because Dwight Schultz was huge from the A-Team. Like, he's an established actor. So they would just, he's almost like Q. He'll come in for a couple of episodes, like maybe
Okay.
one episode a season, and then do something awkward and then disappear. Like, he's not always there. He was kind of bigger than the other actors.
Bigger than TNG?
I was going to say bigger than Star Trek, but at this point, he's probably bigger than TNG. Yeah. Like, he's the A-Team.
So there's several things I really enjoyed, though, and I think that's why it kicks it up from, like, even though I don't know that it, like, hit what I saw exactly, I still enjoyed it. And one of my favorite parts is when Barkley finally sits down and comes clean. Well, he's been trying to say something the whole time, but he's really more adamant.
Yeah.
And Picard is questioning him, and Barkley says, "You have to believe me. I would not pull you into a conference for no reason."
Like, he's terrified of confrontation. He's intimidated by the senior staff. Yeah, he would. There's no way he would do that unless he was certain.
And immediately Picard believes him. And that's the kind of nuance of the crew and the storytelling that I like a lot. I feel like sometimes I'll watch a movie or a show and they really like to play on injustice to sort of keep you attentive.
Yeah.
To make sure that by the end justice is served. And so they'll purposefully let there be a misunderstanding or a confrontation that is just a miscommunication, and there's just an injustice because we're seeing the truth as the viewer, and we know that, you know, Barkley is telling the truth, but no one believes him. And it's so refreshing to see that there's some genuine questions, and rightfully so. But this is even after Geordi. It happens first with Geordi. I mean, first of all, Data notices that he's off and kind of says, "Hey, is so-and-so okay? He's touched himself too much." That is out of context. And then Geordi goes and is like, "Hey, you want to take a break? Maybe you should just have a break." And then contacts Deanna. "Yeah, will you go check in with Barkley?" And then immediately checks the the buffers and the transporter stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they go and take it apart, and O'Brien says, no, I'll just run this next whatever diagnostic with, and even though he'd already done a lot. So they take those kinds of things seriously rather than leaning into the misunderstanding trope. And I think that was a real win for me in this episode, because I like to see cooperation on screen.
Yeah. For me, it's the strongest part of the episode too, because there's like this, it's the 80s or the 90s, like that workplace thing and how things are handled poorly, but everything is kind of handled pretty great. Deanna's the only one that makes a boo-boo for me by relieving him of duty in a public space. But everyone
Oh,
else is like super considerate. Like Barclay has this vague description of like tingling, and then his arm was attacked in the stream. And Geordie's just like, let's check this out just in case. And
right.
they don't just give it lip service. Him and O'Brien like pull that transporter room apart to put his mind at ease. And O'Brien does the same thing when Barclay calls him in the middle of the night, and he's just like, "Sir, I just wanted to mention that you didn't have your tricorder."
Oh,
It's so great. He's
it's
like, "I'm
so
gonna help you
good.
anyway, but just tell me what's going on."
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
such a great moment for O'Brien, and it's like we don't have the trope of nobody believes him. You're paranoid. He's the one that thinks he's paranoid, and eventually the evidence overwhelms him where he has to come forward and say, right, this just in case this is something else. It's really well put together, I think.
Yeah. That was the if I'm looking at the episode as a whole, that's definitely one that sings for me. And I also enjoyed this character that maybe I relate to, the one that's a little bit
Mhm.
paranoid about something and the one that's trying to kind of make it work but still has some phobias going on, the quirky one that decides to go into the therapist's office and touch everything and mess up the sweet sand, like this chaos that Barkley kind of emanates, and he in the confident way that and like a child whenever he gets told by Geordie at the beginning, no, you're gonna go on this away mission, and he just kind of like haunches his shoulders and stomps around the
Yeah.
floor like, I don't want to go to
I
school
don't want
today,
to go. I don't
um
like the transporter.
but what a interesting idea to have a character be paranoid about something,
Yeah.
decide to go and face the fear, and then have one of the worst things that can happen
Oh my
to
gosh.
you. All
It's
fears,
amazing.
and then
Realized.
by the end have to go in and potentially die by transporter to
Die by being dissolved.
dissolve enough that the other particles can be separated from you so that you can
Yeah.
exist. And I, I don't I don't know what I would do in this situation, but I would definitely be like a shuttle girl for the rest of my life. His that confirmed every fear that he had. And
Yeah.
I'm glad that the show didn't make him do it, like bully him or everybody does. Like they said, it's the safest way to travel, but it wasn't done in a way where they were egging him on to, hey, everybody's doing the transporter, everybody's
Mhm.
doing it. It was more like a,
You're being stupid.
here's some information about why flying on an airline is really, really safe for,
Yeah.
versus a car. It was more like that kind of a chat. And Deanna wasn't even attempting to make him face a fear in this one either. So it was a very curious way of approaching the idea of character fears transporter has a fear inside of it while mystery is going on. So
Yeah.
that kind of all worked for me, even though it felt a bit slow at times.
Completely agree. It is a bit slow, especially when we get to Barclay. Basically, the period where Deanna relieves him of duty, he goes to 10 forward, he goes to his room, he does the WebMD, he tries to go to sleep, he drinks water. That middle stint definitely drags a little bit. But overall, I love the way that his anxiety is portrayed.
Yeah.
And instead of suddenly giving this to Beverly and just like, yeah, I've always had this fear of transporters that you never knew about, Barclay's the perfect person to do this with, because the very first episode he's in, it's about here. Basically, Geordie wants to transfer him off the Enterprise because he thinks he's incompetent, and he's just like he's always turning up late for his work. He doesn't contribute anything. He doesn't deserve to be on the flagship. And Barclay kind of hides in the holodeck and is spending a lot of time there and develops a holodeck addiction. And it turns out he's a freaking genius, but he's just really, really shy. And he has like crippling social anxiety. So he doesn't speak up and he's late to work because of his anxiety. And eventually they get past it and he helps save the day and whatnot. There's another episode where again his anxiety comes into play. So he's the perfect character to bring in for this episode because he's anxious about basically everything. So I'm not surprised that he has this understandable anxiety about transporters as well.
Well, what a great moment too to portray that element of a character. You've got a lot of characters on screen that are always so confident, and that really
Mm-hmm.
plays itself when they decide to beam over at the very beginning, and they intentionally build the tension where O'Brien is like, and it's humorous. So Worf goes first, and O'Brien's sort of telegraphing what he's doing, and he's matching up the beams and all this stuff, and then Worf goes over. And then Riker goes over, and then
Mm-hmm.
Beverly goes over,
And Barclay's just
and
sweating.
he is so upset. No one notices, which is one of my
Uh-huh.
sins. But and then and then O'Brien's like, oh, we got a something something something, like right as Beverly was going. And, oh no,
Yep.
it's okay. I
No,
got
we're
it.
fine. Brush it off. Giggle that away.
Doesn't actually telegraph or narrate his own beaming like that ever again. But in that
Mm-hmm.
moment, it shows you that you've got all of these kind of confident characters. Every person is stepping up to the beam, stepping up to bat, so to speak, in this sort of fearless way. Like they're just getting on the lift or something.
This is another day. I trust O'Brien. It's
So
fine.
to make the central part of an entire episode a person who has anxiety, it must have resonated with the audience somehow. Like they must know that it was a valid perspective. And a character like Barclay is that character that they kind of put into movies and scenes, the oddball out, the new man on the team that lets us see through the lens of an ignorant viewer who doesn't understand all of the things happening. And so, but to give Barclay that ability to go, maybe that's part of the problem, is that I do know too much. I know that if this is off just a tiny little bit, that everything falls apart. And so a really dynamic character look. This is, if you're going to do a character study and you're trying to figure out like which character studies are you going to do for like side characters, and obviously Barclay is going to be one of them. I haven't watched any other ones that kind of has him as the central character or as a main character, but this is definitely for me one that I would say watch, because it's about facing fears. It's about solving a mystery. It's got kind of the weird twist at the end, which we kind of have to talk about, but also we get to see the interior of being transported, and how fucking cool is that?
Yeah, we do. So before we move on from Broccoli, I have you tweaked a memory that I had the first time I ever watched that first Barclay episode where he has his anxiety and Geordie's like, transfer him off the ship. I don't want to deal with him. That was the first time when I was like, oh, people in TNG aren't perfect. Because everyone is a Riker, everyone's a Geordie, everyone's a Data. Like, they have got their shit together, and everyone in Starfleet is professional, down the line, getting stuff done. And Barclay's a human being from the 21st century, like me. And he's just like he's just a normal guy. He's not really, I mean, he was representing he's the most believable character in the show for me, because he has these flaws. So he is like seeing us on screen. Like, imagine like there's a chance that I would be that really anxious officer. So it takes that perfect sheen off of TNG and makes it a more human story and makes it more real. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I think Barclay is such a great addition to the show.
Well, it's also cool to know that there's a history to Geordie not wanting him on the team, and then seeing their camaraderie in this episode is really interesting.
Big difference.
Like, that's kind of the perspective I'm going to miss a little bit, but I liked how Geordie was with Barclay. Like, it was respectful, and whenever he passes out, he's like, what's his first name? Rob?
Reginald Barclay. Reg. It's a great character arc, because Geordie was very much just assuming that Barclay wasn't good enough. And when he got round to believing that it was anxiety and it was this genuine thing, and he tried to connect, he found the value in Barclay, and obviously saving the day definitely helps. Suddenly you have value. So yeah, Geordie's arc with him is really, really fun, and they end up being really, really, really good friends.
Yeah, I feel like every character kind of had a moment to sing, but this one would definitely be obviously Barclay, and then maybe O'Brien, because we got to see O'Brien a lot in this episode too.
He's so kind to Barclay in this episode, and I love O'Brien.
he was fun. Like you said earlier, when he allowed Barkley to go face the worm guy,
Hmm.
even though he had
I've
just
just got to
lied
know.
to him about
Yeah.
it, and also demanded as like, I'm giving you an order. Like he was
Yeah.
really being a little erratic in that scene. But
And I love that
O'Brien,
because it's
he
someone
just
like Reg to give
yeah.
orders as
And
well.
just rolled off his back. He's like, "No, I get it. I'll beam you in and out as much as you
Yeah.
want, buddy." Like,
Let's do it. I don't care if it's 3 a.m. They're
mm-hmm.
definitely teeing him up. So this is literally like I think a few months before Barkley before O'Brien leaves to go on to Deep Space Nine. So they're definitely
Oh,
teeing up O'Brien with like juicier roles
okay.
to get him in the consciousness more before he transitions to Deep Space Nine.
There was a moment. What's O'Brien's wife's name?
Keiko.
Okay, so like when he said, "Let me introduce you to Christine," I was like, "Is that his wife?" And I thought, I'm not.
Yes.
I thought that the little egg at the end, whatever, was going to be his wife stuck in a pattern buffer, like
Oh
a little portable
no.
pattern buffer thing.
Yes, my wife's been stuck in here this whole time. This is why I'm so good at transporters.
Yeah, your fears are legit. But
That's
but today
amazing.
helped me solve the problem of how to get my wife out of this pattern buffer. And
Yeah.
I was like, what is like we have
What's going
so little
on?
time left in this episode. What are they about to
Why are you
do?
introducing a new Mbenga storyline? But the other thing that I love about this episode, and it's why it's one that I come back to so much, is that there is so much transporter porn in this episode. I remember vividly as a kid when they go to the transporter room and O'Brien starts listing all of the things like this is going to be a weird transport. First of all, we have to do one at a time. Oh, that's amazing. That means I get to see 4 transporter beams happen. That's great. It's going
Mm-hmm.
to take slightly longer than usual. It's going to take 4 to 6 seconds. Oh my God. Each
Even
transporter beam is
more.
going to take longer. Yes. And then after he's like listing all of the things that are happening during the transporter cycle. And then eventually, when Reg gets into it, it's a POV shot of him in the matter stream. I was like, this episode is giving me everything I've ever wanted. I've always wanted to know what it feels like to transport and what it would look like and what it would feel like. It's probably my number one technology from Star Trek that I want to experience above replicators, above holodecks. If you can
Above a
guarantee,
holodeck?
if you can guarantee that I am me on the other end, then I want to have this technology. But
No
it's
way,
such a
man.
fun episode for that because it does it all. It gives you this new perspective
And then
on
it gives you
transporters,
an
and I
even
love it.
longer one at the end.
Yeah, he's just in the beam and it's like flickering,
Like
and oh, I love
the
it.
whole part where they're like, and then be still. I'm like, you can move? Because
Right, but
visually they usually freeze frames so they can do like the little sprinkles over top of you. But here we actually get to
that's not
see
just visually.
movement.
So, as much as this does for my excitement for transporters, it is unforgivably sinful how much it contradicts what we know about transporters. And I'll have plenty of sins to talk
Okay, well,
about,
we'll
so I
get to
don't
that.
mind. Well, I don't mind talking about this now because it's a big part of the episode that we can't not get into.
Okay, well, before we get into it,
Mhm.
can I just say, while we're talking about being inside of the transporter beam, um, if you do you know what eye floaties are?
Eye floaties. They're the
So
things where you deliberately like kind of pulse your eyes to make speckles
no,
appear.
it's where you have like so the viscera in your eye has created a shape of some
Yeah.
kind, and
Uh
whenever
huh.
you move your eyes across screen across your life, the little shadows move over your vision also.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Eye floaties or
Yeah.
floaters. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I have so many of these.
Yeah.
And I just think that this episode gives a nice little visual of what it looks like every day
Yes.
to look around a room. How many times in my life have I thought that there was
Yeah.
something crawling on the wall? Look over. Nope. It was just the shadow of my eye floaties. I think I have like
Mm-hmm.
70 eye floaties. My vision is filled with them. I don't like them, but they're just part of
Mm-hmm.
my life. So whenever I was in the beam, there's all this like extra filtery things that are going
Mm-hmm.
on. And then you've got the worm, and I'm like, oh, that's my everyday. I
That's what I
think
look
I am
like.
actually being transported every day, constantly. This is my life. I just wanted to say I kind of liked seeing that on the screen because I wonder if that was part of the inspiration.
I love that.
Like
I
somebody had an
can
eye
tell you,
floaty. And
it
mine,
could, it
I have
definitely
some
looks
that are
like that.
really long that look
Yeah.
chunky like that. Yeah.
I can tell you that part of the inspiration was that Brandon Braga had a fear of flying, and this was a direct allegory to his fear of flying, which is why
Yeah.
they made the safest way to travel um, comparison, because that's what people say. Statistically, flying in an airplane is the safest way to travel based on the amount of accidents that
Right.
happen,
Statistically.
and
Yeah.
statistically, yeah, and transporters are the same. It's just more traumatic when it happens, or
Sure
it's
is.
really it feels like a scarier mode of transport. So I think that's why this episode sings so well too, because it's drawing from Brandon Bragger's genuine fear of flying.
Was there anything else that we really enjoyed before we go into the things that drove you nuts? Like, because I feel like the transporter conversation that you want to have is just
I
firmly
know,
in the sins.
I know, it really is. We'll save it for the sins. There's what else did I have?
Uh,
Oh, we always like seeing another ship. So we do get to see the inside of the Yosemite as they beam in there, and this is just another Star Trek ship. And I always wonder like where those sets went because they had to build another internal set when you go into a different starship. And I'm sure this is one that gets redressed and reused, etc. But I always like being inside another ship. And the Birth
yes.
class is such a unique looking ship as well. I don't know how it works.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I did think multiple times I was really enjoying the view of engineering. I grew up with this ship, and so it wasn't just the bridge. You spend a lot of time in engineering as well. Like that
Yeah,
set is pretty firmly used.
I
There's
love
like
it.
in the warp core area around the corner where Barkley passes out. You kind of
Hmm.
go over there. That's where Data does his like really fast chip thing that one episode. And
Yes, I imagine that's where the potty is as well, because there's that little
of
door that we
course,
never see
yes,
people
the
walk
little
off to.
potty room. And then there's these little alcoves that have individual computers set up. And I don't know, I like seeing that. We also got to see Deanna's, space with the curvy
Yes.
couch and the sand.
Hmm.
And we got to see Berkeley's room and
Barkley.
Barkley, God, ugh, and have a glimpse, a reminder of what like the '90s believed future fashion. No, not fashion. Interior design
Nightwear, interior design. Yeah.
looks like
Beds.
because
Horrible,
it's
horrible beds.
horrible beds, sparkly pillowcases,
Oh, I
and
thought you were calling him Sparkly.
oh, that's great. I
He
should.
should be called
Hmm.
Sparkly.
And then like decorative pastel plates on the wall.
Yeah. Hmm.
I am I get so
Standard
entertained
issue Federation design.
by that. Yeah. And of course we get to see the conference room and we get to see Picard taking a call from Starfleet about the
Mmm.
Kardashians potentially having
Cardassians.
Kardashians,
Yeah.
thank you, having potentially, blown this other ship up in
Yeah.
some sort of an incident. So there's like a little political conversation happening as well, which was an interesting like, hey, here's what's going on in the world at this time.
Well, again,
Um
that's another deliberate tie into Deep Space Nine because the Cardassians are the big bad of Deep Space Nine. So there's a lot of mentions in this season of the Cardassians doing sketchy shit that they shouldn't be, teeing up Deep Space Nine, which is fun.
yeah, it was always and we got to see like the little mechanisms for the beaming and transporting.
Yeah, we do. We get
I
the transporter pad. We get the inside of the circuits and the transporter buffer and the pad and stuff.
I love that. And that's the sort of thing that makes this episode that I
Yeah.
enjoyed, even though the pacing we got to see a lot, and I enjoyed that, and we got to go to 10 Forward too, so we were like in a lot of places,
We were in a lot of different places. Now I love it.
and it's not every day
Um,
that a tarantula is on screen. So
just just crawling around. Yeah. How did you feel about the mystery? So Barkley sees like the worms in the transporter. Did you think he was hallucinating? What was your theories as it went through? Because I know at the end you exclaimed, "It's the crew!"
when he reaches out and bear hugs the worm.
Mm-hmm.
And O'Brien says that his mass had just gone to 90% or something.
Yeah, 90% increase.
I was thinking, what? Why is the show going to allow Barkley to bring back a worm?
Yeah.
Like, what is the show going to do with a worm at the end? And that's when I thought, well, it won't. It's not going to bring back a worm at the end. It's going to bring back a and then it kind of like all came together. But honestly, I'm confused as fuck. Like I
Oh,
have no
honestly,
idea how
like I don't
any of
blame
this
you for not
works.
predicting this one because it's a great little twist at the end because it's so fucking unbelievable. It's so surreal.
It's so confusing.
None of it makes any sense.
So I think where my brain goes, tell me if this is what I think I'm supposed to be figuring out,
Happily.
is
Yeah.
that they have inadvertently absorbed these microscopic worm or these microscopic beings. We don't know
Yeah.
exactly what they look like, but we assume that
Mhm.
it's the worm look. We assume.
That's what Beverly assumed. Yeah.
Okay. The crew is then absorbed into this other like interphasing world of beaming
Yeah.
and kind of only exists inside the particles that are the match of them and the worm. And so this is where my brain goes, like, because was Barkley going to turn into a worm?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. That's how he would be perceived. Yeah. The worm thing is a red herring. Like, there's no real
Right.
reason for them to turn into a worm. It's just a visual representation of their molecules.
Right. So we don't know what the beings, the alive things looked like in the ionic
No.
space, but
No.
all that was left of them was this particular shape. And that
No.
no.
No. So the plasma stream is able to host life, these tiny little molecular beings. When the crew of the Yosemite scan it and they beam up a sample, when it explodes, I think those beings got inside of the crew of the Yosemite. The transporter guy does the biofilter thing, the same thing that O'Brien and Geordie are trying to do. So he holds them in stasis and tries to like filter out the microscopic beings, but pushes it too far, takes it too long. So when O'Brien is like, I'm losing Barkley, I've got to bring him back, the same thing happens on the Yosemite, but the Yosemite transporter chief fucks it up and they basically dissolve, but the gaseous thing, the stream that the ship is stuck in, keeps them kind of cohesive and together, and they're attracted to the transporter beam, I think. So the
I
worms are
assume that
just
they
the
got
crew of
stuck in a
the
beam.
humans.
But the beams don't
Yeah.
exist. They got stuck in their own
They
computer
get stuck in the
system in the
buffer.
buffer.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
they're
the
stuck in
only
the
part of
buffer.
them that doesn't dissolve is the part of them that was somehow also combined with the other being, because they were trying to take that out of Barkley whenever he went into the transport, like the beaming technology. So he steps
Yeah.
in and then they basically dissolve him enough that they can identify the stuff that's not supposed to be part of him. And then they're going to like
Yeah.
then they're going to make a new profile essentially
Yeah.
for our Barkley minus the wormy thing
Yeah.
or whatever, and then beam him back
Yeah.
in. And that's when he realizes that somehow the other guys still exist in the worm.
Yeah, they
I don't
still
know.
exist in the buffer, and there's some like particles mixed in from the red stream that the Yosemite is inside of. The thing is, they're right for the wrong reasons. The worm, there are these beings that are inside the transporter beam, but it's not the worms. The worms are the crew. So Barkley makes this leap.
Okay,
The creatures that he's seeing aren't the
here
little critters.
here's what Picard says. Reprogrammed, removed alien microbes, and 4 crew members. Microbes returned to the plasma stream.
Yes.
So the alien microbes were in the pattern buffer.
Yes, they were in there too.
Okay.
And they were then sent back to the plasma stream
So is
thing.
TNG saying that at our core we look like little worms? And so it's not the microbes?
Yeah, no, that's what we look like apparently in the transporter beam, unless we're Barclay, and then we keep our entire human form.
And somehow the computer, as it was beaming out the worm, knew which person it was and assigned that profile to them to beam them back in with their human profile.
Barclay grabs a human, Barclay grabs a worm, and then the worm decides to turn back into a human. There is no explanation for that. I can't explain it any more than that. That is what happens. There is no science to it.
Okay.
Worm suddenly becomes human. And then, the transporter reconstitutes the worm into the human parts. The biggest problem is that Barclay shouldn't look like Barclay. Barclay should be in a billion pieces. He shouldn't have any matter to him to be able to grab on. Or he looks like a worm as well.
Right. This is the part where you realize that the show was slow because it didn't want to have to think about this stuff too much.
Yeah,
it
right?
was like the note was people look like worms, big surprise, they are people at the end.
This isn't what the episode is about. Stop it. This is about anxiety, not transporters.
Okay.
But Worf should absolutely have gone, wait, what? What are you asking me to do?
Barclay saves the day by following his instinct and holding on to the worm thing. And then, Worf and crew all jump in to do the same thing with the instruction of just reach out and grab someone.
Grab him. Wait till it gets big enough and grab him.
So I guess like the other thing that, and it's kind of being brought up in the chat too, is like when the worm originally bit Barclay, that was it trying to say, hey, look at me.
Grab me.
Right?
That's because at that point in the episode, the script wants you to believe that this is a monster attacking Barclay.
Right, absolutely.
And not a human.
Like it's
that's
hungry.
all it is.
It's hungry. And I like the idea that at one point in time, Beverly was saying, or someone was saying that like it might look microscopic or it might look really big in the pattern or in the beam, but in real life it's not microscopic. It's not a microbe. But but Barclay's like, no, this thing is huge. And so we watch the rest of it thinking that he's just somehow microscopic and, like the size is just different.
Distorted. Yeah. The relative stuff doesn't make sense in transporter beams, which explains it away. But yeah.
I mean, but it was no matter what, I was like, oh my God, it's the people. Like I was genuinely thrilled by it. So it worked for me. But then after the show ends, if you don't immediately go to a commercial break for Kool-Aid, you're not going to think about it too much. And so here we are thinking about it too much, and it kind of doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense at all. And we'll get even deeper into that in the sins.
And so there was no worm inside Barclay, right?
No, not the worm, but the was the microscopic beings that live in the plasma stream.
Okay.
Yeah, they.
Okay.
Yeah, those guys were inside Barclay.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Because then if it was the worms, then it would have been Barclay would have had like a, what's that movie where they go like Interstellar or something where they go inside the body?
Oh, Inner Space.
Inner Space, that's it.
Yeah, they'd have had to go in there to fish it out.
Interstellar is totally different. Don't listen to
Totally different. That's gravity and stuff. There's a couple other things I liked. I mean, overall, Dwight Schultz does a great job of just portraying Barclay and the anxiety and stuff. But there's a moment when they're in the briefing room and Picard says, okay, here's the plan of attack. Worf do this, Geordi do this. Take that transporter apart. We're going to figure this out. And the camera goes over to him and he just breathes this really subtle sigh of relief. The people believe me sigh. And that's so great. That's such an amazing moment.
Yeah. There's a satisfaction, and like I said earlier, that I really felt that's the big win for this episode for me is believing someone, especially when the show had already established that this is somebody that we could just make fun of.
Yeah.
But obviously the show is saying, no, there are legitimate reasons to pay attention to and appreciate people who have anxiety, who are socially awkward. they have something to say, it matters, and let's make their presence important, while also showing some of the real struggles that they go through with basic day-to-day operations of things on a starship that includes being, transported. But even the scene where he begins to look up his own potential problems, like, he immediately started to spiral, and you could just see it, and it makes you uncomfortable because he's on this odd path, but they didn't let the character's odd path become too self-destructive because they cared about him, and that's a touching thing to see.
Yeah, I love that. I love it. I also love the pride.
What was that? I couldn't hear you over the coffee.
Yep. Really? That's weird. I really love the pride that O'Brien takes when Barclay pushes a bit too far on like the transporter thing, and Barclay's like, I know all about this stuff, and if it's off by one thing, and he's like, that's why each pad has 4 redundant sensors, and there hasn't been a case of that since 2295 or something. And O'Brien just gets to dump a load of transporter lore and kind of takes a bit of offense to it. He's like, I do this every day. I don't lose people. It's not down to chance. There's a reason we don't lose people. We know how complicated it is. We know how dangerous it could be. And here's all of the steps that we put in place to make sure that we don't disintegrate into a trillion different pieces. So yeah, really, really love that from O'Brien as well. Anything else before we do some pips?
No, let's go to pippage.
Let's do some pips. It's a 2.5 for me.
Yeah, I think it's probably a 2.5 for me too. I think I like it better than last week's episode in some ways.
Get out.
But I also don't remember last week's episode.
I was about to say, we have a lovely Cinema Sins Discord where we have a Star Trek channel, and the channel was talking about Booby Trap more than Time Squared, and Booby Trap was a episode that we talked about in the outtakes after the show and not actually in the middle of the show. So yeah, it's one of those middle of the road episodes, but I love Time Squared. But yeah, I'm with you on this one as well. It's fun. I wish that the transporter stuff wasn't so contradictory to what we know about transporters and how we've been told that they work up until this point. So yeah, it does come down a couple of notches for that and the pacing, but just an unprecedented look at transporters and the POV shots and Barclay's portrayal with anxiety is just, it gets it up into like the kind of top middle of episodes for me. Yeah, love that. Okay, with that, let's head over to some very technical sins over in engineering. Battle Stations Red Alert. You're gonna enjoy this, so just let me talk.
I don't know. Am I gonna enjoy it? I mean, it's gonna be blah blahs,
This is the part of the show where we re-engage our sim brains, remind ourselves that no TV shows without sin, even our beloved Star Trek. I'll let you go first, Ambassador, before I go off.
So I think this is a question that maybe there's a reason for it, and I just missed it. But there's a moment whenever they're like Reg is being energized to have the microbes taken out and all this stuff for this new biofilter scan things, and he goes into the Matrix and he's like, doing the whole thing, and then like the worm looks at him and they're like, microbes are not isolated yet, and then I think someone's like, his image is at 55%, and O'Brien's like, I can hold them together.
Yeah.
And then the worm comes at his face inside the buffer, and then they say signal resolution to 50%. That's down only 5%, and then O'Brien's like, I'm losing him. Like,
yeah, I thought the same thing.
He goes, I gotta bring him back. I gotta bring him back. Like, wait, you didn't say, like, 5% ago you were like, I got this.
Yeah, so no biggie.
I don't know.
You gotta draw the line somewhere,
Danae. Like, that really bothered me a lot.
I think you can afford to lose 50% of you, or 45%. But as soon as you lose half of you, are you even you anymore?
Well, he was at 55, and then he went down to 50.
Yeah.
So it's like, are we talking about 5% increments? Anyways, that was confusing, and it was
a big shift from it's okay to holy shit, let's bring him back.
I'm like, oh, this is just like an every Saturday. Oh shit!
Fuck. So obviously, the biggest sin of the episode that we've mentioned is that transporters don't work that way, and the best way. There's two prongs that I come at this from that annoy me. Annoy is a very strong word for this. It doesn't matter. It's the confinement beam. So this was mentioned in quite a few different episodes. The idea is that there is a confinement beam that keeps you in place so that you can't move while transporting. So no shenanigans can happen. It makes sense for all kinds of reasons because you want to be put back into the same pieces that you were taken apart in. So you shouldn't be able to move as the matter stream is initiating and then putting you back together. And yet Barkley is wiggling around in there. He's squinting. He's looking around. And then he throws up an arm at the beginning of the episode to protect himself. And then O'Brien beams him back in. He's in a completely new position and he's terrified. And he's like, not so bad, was it, Lieutenant? And Barkley's just like, oh, yeah, that was great. Where did the confinement beam disappear to? Why can they wiggle around in transporters and then grab a thing as well? You shouldn't be able to move around inside the transporter beam.
The end.
No, because my second attack is that you shouldn't have any form. We shouldn't be able to see Barkley. He shouldn't have arms with which
But
to
that's
grab
no
the
fun.
worm. Right? It's weird to me that his eyeballs are there to be able to see things. Like they should be in lots of different pieces. Everything should kind of go black. The computer puts you on pause, and then you reappear in the next position. It's so strange that he is conscious and aware of himself and able to see himself throughout the entire transport cycle. It's weird.
My sin for that moment is that Picard didn't show up at the end for the major beaming thing. Like, that must be one of the fucking craziest things to ever happen in that transporter room, and the captain doesn't want to go watch. Like,
yeah.
Hey, Captain,
I want to see this shit.
We're going to put Reg into the transporter buffer. We're going to rip him into some shreds. We're going to get him down to the ever scary 50% range. And then we're going to take out the little doohickey guy. Yeah. And Picard's like, nah. What?
Nah, I gotta ride some horses on the holodeck.
Picard would, at the very least, pop in and just be like, "Ooh, how's it going in here, guys?"
You would think so. Like this is a pretty substantial thing that's happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of want to send Deanna because she very unprofessionally relieves Barkley of duty, which is quite a traumatic thing to do to a person. And just does it in the corridor. Like, you insist that he comes to your office. You make that an order. You get Worf to escort him there. You just beam him into your office, which probably isn't very psychologically fair. But you have that in private. Like, she's the only one that is kind of a bit out of line.
I don't know. There's like some sins that are in the chat too about, Deanna like listening to his fears and saying, well, you are being ripped apart into all of these little pieces. But I think like a level of honesty is okay. But where I saw more of a sin, because like a therapist isn't, I think like some tough conversations, like your fear is valid. You are going to do this. And she didn't even want him to go out and face his fear right away. She says like, let's just ease into this, She didn't say, hey, we're going to face your fear. She says, hey, we're going to tap your neck. She didn't, say,
we're going to make up some Betazoid bullshit.
Yeah, let's just transport just part of your hand away and back just to get started. She
let's just ease you in. Do it one limb at a time.
But whenever it was really awkward for me dealing with Barkley's fear was when they were talking about, like, after the sampler container was shattered or whatever, and the microbes are in the system and they're in the buffer and blah, 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 and they're figuring all this stuff out, and the biofilters didn't screen out the blah, blah, blahs. All that stuff is happening. And Barkley is watching them talk back and forth as like, we're just going to suspend him for, 30 to 40 seconds. They can separate him long enough. And, if it's too long, then the signal is permanently lost. And right in front of him. That, to me, was the sin of, yes, you're trying to come up with how you're going to save his life, but you're also literally telling him his absolute worst fear. And so casually, like, he's looking back and forth going, what? And what's so bad about him living the rest of his life with a microbe in his body? They didn't even address that was a possibility.
Yeah, was it deadly? Was it
deadly?
going to cause some harm? I don't think so.
No, he was basically the first Trill.
Like they're they're not just asking him to face his fear. It's like face your fear of sharks, but there's going to be 10 sharks, and you have to be with them for an extended period of time.
Yeah, you're going to be
it's
put on
ramping up.
Yeah, and I don't want to think about that
fear.
too long. By the way,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you
fair.
for that.
That's fair.
Thank
Sorry.
you for that.
Yeah,
thank you for actually talking about an actual literal fear of mine.
Yeah,
you're proving my point.
Sorry, I
That
could have picked.
sometimes people get really like it's.
Yeah.
You just don't.
I could have picked anything other than sharks.
It
Sorry.
could have been anything. We don't have to say sharks anymore. Let's move on.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to move on quickly to my next sin, which is don't do your experiments in the fucking engineering space right next to the warp core.
Right there. Right
next to the warp core. You must have labs. You have a holodeck. Like, you've got this level 5 containment field. Great, good stuff. But it was at maximum. Like, at least on the Yosemite, they did it down in one of the labs and next to the transporter room. You're doing it 10 foot from the warp core.
Yeah, it's just
Stop
right
it.
Mm-hmm. But
it's
also,
so dangerous.
Once it goes wrong, why don't you just beam it back out to space?
Yeah, immediate. Why isn't that automatic?
Walk on to this and beam it into space.
And why did Barclay have to run across the room to check on the containment field? Like, what was he checking on? Like, run across the room and check that this isn't going to kill us any minute.
It was crazy. I want to sin that the term life forms was said, and then Data didn't immediately go
life forms. You precious
that
little life.
Immediately got into my head.
Yep. Where are you? I'd like to actually go back to a facing your fear myth. This is not always the best thing to do. And the Barclay just kind of run into it, just like face your fears. It's like, that's not actually the best thing to do. And I think Deanna should have shut him down. It's like, even if he is confident, she should be like, that's not necessarily going to make you better. Like, facing your fear can increase trauma and make it even more of a fear and more of a traumatic experience as well.
But you have to trust the one that can read your mind. I mean, she
didn't really use that power this episode.
Yeah. How about, let's see, where was the other one of my sins here? Oh yeah. Who meditates to the sound of seagulls screaming off of the beach?
More birds, please. Caw, caw!
Although that was really funny.
That was hilarious.
When the scene starts, it's like, that is so stressful. And I realize that it's not stressful to everyone. But I have a friend, used to be a streaming buddy, somebody that I played the Wild RP game with. He played a Captain Rebel, I believe is his name on Twitch. And he would talk about the fucking seagulls whenever he would be streaming, because he lives close to the coast.
Yeah.
And they're just a nightmare bird. And so every time I hear a seagull, I think about my poor friend just trying to stream, and then like literally seagulls just descending on the balcony.
I am landlocked in the middle of England with multiple counties between me and the shore, and I still have seagulls fly by my window, and occasionally there would be like, caw, caw! And I remember the first time Aaron noticed it, he was like, was that a seagull? Where do you live? Do you live by the ocean? And I'm like, no.
Oh, man.
I live 300 miles from the ocean.
Man, it's a weird, I don't know. It's a weird, like birds. I used to listen to a meditation soundtrack, and it was the sounds of the rainforest. And so there'd be like the frog and like the rain. Yeah, I kind of like that. That's a little like exotic.
Different. The bird of paradise.
Right, but like a rat with wings, not relaxing.
No, not relaxing at all. There are moments like this in Star Trek that baffle me that they made it onto the script, they made it onto the screen, and it's when Picard is having that news update from the Admiral. And she says, while I'm loath to believe anything from the Ferengi, that's racist, my friend. Just because they're Ferengi means that they're not trustworthy. And it's like, okay, maybe they've got a reputation. But to say I loathe to even believe the Ferengi, you're not even saying there's a chance that they're lying. You just don't want to believe them because they're Ferengi. That sucks. You need to be fired. Picard's not just like, hold on a minute, that's racist.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, it just depends on what part of history. If they're known for being like liars, she might be saying like, "It's hard for me to believe this intel, but let's do this." So, but I
But that's
understand what you're
not
saying.
how. Yeah, and that's not
I
how she
understand.
says
Yeah,
it. She's
no,
like,
no, no.
I
It's
loathe
far
the
more. Yeah,
idea.
she
Yeah.
was being very casual.
Yes.
Like, don't you know you're being recorded?
Yeah. Huh?
I did not see Reginald Barkley pee once. Now, I'm not saying I wanted to see him pee.
Oh no,
I'm
I
just
thought about
saying
it the
like
whole time. Yeah.
I needed to pee
Yeah.
watching this episode with how
So
much
much
water
water
he drank.
consumed. Yeah.
And he even like takes like a bottled water to I've never seen an open like it wasn't technically an open container because there was a lid haphazardly put on the top of it, but he had a water bottle in engineering. When are people just putting their containers onto anyway?
It was on a button. It wasn't on the edge. It was on one of the buttons.
There was so much water in this episode. Like I went to the bathroom before the show started, and I thinking about it is making me need to go again.
Need to go again.
Yeah.
This is another great example of Riker just being shit at his job. Riker, I'll take a shuttle. Picard, that's a terrible idea. Shut up, Riker. I'll take a shuttle into the stream. No, it's too dangerous. It'll blow you up. Of course it will. Like, Riker is sometimes just given dialogue that is just the worst idea.
Well, but to be honest with you, the writers are going to make whatever work however way.
Oh, yeah, completely. I just wish it wasn't the first officer that was giving that suggestion. I wish it was Wesley or someone else. I wish Riker knew better. Like, one of my favorite ones is Riker is like, let's fire a torpedo at it. And Data says a torpedo explosion this close would destroy 75% of the ship. And I'm like, that's not a maybe. How did you not go to torpedo class? Like, how do you not know that that's going to blow up the ship, Riker? Amazing. Your turn.
Let's see. I don't know if I have another one. Let's take a look. We already talked about the level 5 containment unit experiment that did not need to happen.
Not a good idea.
I think I kind of mentioned it too earlier that I thought it was crazy that it took Data kind of seeing that Barkley was having struggles before any humans noticed that Barkley was having struggles. But the first time it happens is in the transporter room, which is really small room. And everyone, like, you go stand on the transporter pad and, like, do you only make direct eye contact with O'Brien? You don't look around the room and see that Barkley is basically breathing into a paper bag at this point? Like, does no one really see him?
He's just in the corner rocking backwards and forwards in the fetal position.
He's holding on to a beam of metal or whatever is in the room. He's hyperventilating.
Sweating. Someone was spraying him with a bottle to get those beads of sweat.
No one sees it. It's crazy.
It's amazing. This is a really fun scene because I'm a nerd. Barkley is taking his walk through the ship, and he's like, "Oh, that's their stellar cartography. I thought that was on deck 11." He should know that everything is on deck 12 because that's where most of the shots were filmed, including this shot where he's on deck 12. And deck 12 comes up so much. If there's a walk and talk, there's a 90% chance it's happening on deck 12. There is an insane amount of crew quarters on deck 12. There are science labs on deck 12. I think there's a holodeck on deck 12. Deck 12 has everything. All roads lead to deck 12.
All roads lead to deck 12. That's where I want to be, is deck 12.
Yeah, deck 12 is the one. Anything else, Ambassador?
I don't think so. Oh, no, I have one. Here's a sin. Send a fucking potato first, for fuck's sake, is my sin.
Yes, instead of a human. They do that in other episodes. If it's a risky transport, they'll send a tube of organic matter that... Worf isn't the potato. You can't.
But I'm just saying, like, in this episode, they sent Worf.
Send Worf instead. Yeah, he's the disposable one.
It's so
they'll
crazy.
Send biomatter that replicates a living organism, but they're just like, nah, you'll be fine, Worf. It's okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It was weird. Worf's like, I'll go do it. And
I'll do it.
So Mr. Worf goes first. Send a fucking potato. Like, and then they send a reading back. Why don't we hear Worf saying, made it okay? I mean, I guess they scanned something and...
They do. They know he made it, but He's just like, yeah, that was rough. Don't do that, guys. That sucked. I can feel my spleen.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that Barclay allows somebody sleep deprived to operate the transporter. He wakes O'Brien up. He's fucking yawning, and he's like, "Hey, can you beam me into this experiment?" Oh yeah, I'll do that for you. No problem. Don't operate heavy machinery when you're sleepy, O'Brien.
Yeah. He should have said, let's just do this in the morning. But then again, Barkley is on a ticking time clock.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I do think it's crazy that Barclay finds symptoms, finds things that are wrong, is a hypochondriac, and doesn't go to sickbay when he sees the sparkly arm.
Why doesn't he have the computer say, computer, take a visual recording of this experience?
Yeah.
This is a phenomenon. And just use
this is a big deal.
Use your words, buddy.
Go to sickbay. Like, this is legit. Like, you've gone to sickbay for less, but the sparkle arm he just assumes is a hallucination.
I mean, it's not a hallucination, buddy.
No, it's not. I think one of my last ones was that shouldn't O'Brien have known that Barclay was relieved of duty? He's like, I'm giving you an order.
Or relieved himself because he had to fucking pee.
Yeah, yes, it's true. But apparently O'Brien didn't know that he was relieved of duty.
So passionate about water right now. Am I
dehydrated? Yeah, well, you're making me need to pee now.
I mean, like, we all need to take a break.
Yeah.
You know what? Well, podcast listener, just pause right now. We'll be here when you get back.
Everyone take a pee. Everyone take a potty break. Please do.
It's like when you do a live event and you have like a little midway point and you know that everyone's just got to go do it, but in podcast form where it's all in our imaginations. I love it.
Yeah. I'm going to put a little tinkle sound effect. I'll put some waterfalls and seagulls in the background of this part.
I did want to say too, there was some stuff that came up in the chat that I wanted to mention.
Yeah, go for it.
Wandering said that they removed the pips from O'Brien's costume in this episode so that he was a lesser rank than.
Well, the weird thing is that O'Brien is a non-commissioned officer, which is why
he's an independent contractor?
Essentially, yeah, that's why he's a chief, because I'm pretty sure he was either drafted or he joined during a Cardassian war. So they kind of skip the academy and go straight into active service. So yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a non-com. So he usually has like a different kind of rank. So everybody outranks him, including Wesley, I think.
Okay.
All yeah. Right.
Well,
I think that's why.
That was interesting.
Yeah, I think that's why his rank shifts around a bit.
Okay. Well, there you go.
There you go. But I don't think they decided that until later.
There was another one. Hold on. Nope. For the conversation about moving around in the pattern buffer
yeah.
earlier, Josh Zero said Wrath of Khan wishes to lodge an objection. Kirk has a conversation and eats an apple while beaming.
Equally stupid.
And then CDR Smith says the apple was just to make him look like an asshole.
It's so
which
true.
Is the
exception is apples. Yeah, the exception is apples. But he shouldn't have been able. Wrath of Khan is even worse than that. They have a full-blown three-way conversation mid-transport. They're explaining how they managed to trick the Klingons, and sorry, not the Klingons, how they managed to trick Khan, and they're talking while beaming. That makes no fucking sense. How is sound traveling during a transporter beam? So Wrath of Khan should not be your gold standard for transporter consistency.
And then also in the conversation about whether a sin is a sin, Polly says Barclay doesn't go to sickbay because of the stigma that's already built up of poor mental health because he thinks it is in his head, but physical ailments are okay.
Yeah, I get that. I would accept that. Yeah. Yep. I think by this point he might be feeling that.
Yeah, we turn the sin into that being part of what society expects us to do. Is just
in the 2400s, we haven't moved past this.
That's right.
Sorry, 24th century.
I'm really busted up that O'Brien isn't technically in Starfleet. That's fucking with my head a little bit.
He is. He's just not an officer. He
Mm-hmm.
is in Starfleet. He is a part of Starfleet.
Sin from Flyboy. O'Brien seems to be the only enlisted person slash NCO on the ship, also citing the inconsistency of his rank insignia throughout TNG. They finally settled on chevrons on his collar in Deep Space Nine.
Yep. And they decided, yeah, we're going to make this part of his story.
There you go. Well, thanks, Chad. I appreciate it.
Love it. Okay, everyone. No Mind Palace Trek Roulette this week because, as we said at the top of the episode, we will be taking a brief 4-week hiatus. Your pod feed will be dark until the 7th of August, where we will return with one of a couple of different options. And then our live show will return on the 9th of August, where we will be heading back into some Lower Decks ahead of Lower Decks Season 5 coming back. So yeah, excited to do that. Thank you as always, Ambassador. Anything you want to, any parting words before you leave? We leave people for 4 weeks.
Yeah, thank you for understanding that we've been doing a show now consistently for over 2 years, and this is the first time we're letting our podcast feed go dark. And we appreciate that you guys are going to hang out with us and hang with us. Please be sure to talk about us on forums and such. There's a lot of really amazing Star Trek podcasts out there, but if you think that anybody would like to join our little snarky part of the world over here, recommend us. There's lots of different forums. And speaking of, you can join us on Discord, discord.gg/cinemasins. We have a Captain's Pod channel there. And while the podcast is dark, if you're missing us for some reason, you can also go hang out with others that join together over on the CinemaSins sort of side of things. I know that we portray an asshole on YouTube, but we are not actually all assholes. There's a couple probably out there somewhere statistically, but our group of people over on Discord, they're just an incredible fan group. There's lots of meme sharing, lots of conversations about different episodes. And then there's also, of course, people that watch each episode before the next one of Captain's Pod airs. And there's chats and things there. So if you're looking for something to fill your time between now and then, you can join us on Discord. And just thanks for all your support. This has been a really fun experiment that has continued on. We didn't realize that it was going to pick up the following that it's picked up. And we really appreciate you.
Yeah, and long may it continue. We have several more episodes of Star Trek to get through. Just a couple dozen more, don't worry. But until then, yeah, if you want to send us any emails as well, captainspod@cinemasins.com. It can be anything about a Bluey episode, as you know as well. It can be anything you want. Send it over there. And until then, we will see you in August. I'm Captain Ian, and I need to go perfect the multiplex pattern buffers.
And I also thought that the stellar cartography was on deck 11.
Amateur. Live long and Podspar.
Yay!
Woo! Yay!
Oh, I know.
I know.
It's time for a break. It is
time only
for a break.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Fridays.
Well, there's got to be other shows for you, Backstabber, right?
Just listen to all of the episodes all over again.
Oh my God.
Let's go back to the beginning.
Man, if
anyone
does decide to do that, just don't do it while you're driving, but like make a little outline for us. We need like a little wiki how to find all of our
Captain's Pod wiki. I still don't know what episodes we've covered. We're going to start repeating episodes soon.
Stabber. I'm here for you. Yeah. I've got other great suggestions for your life. I like to assume that I know best and give unsolicited advice. I'm really good at it.
Yeah. So I think the episode we'll be returning with for a live show is Lower Decks Season 1, Episode 2, is what I believe. But I'll confirm on the Discord.
So. Yeah, so we're going to be
Lower
going
Deck
over... we're going to be going over the Lower Decks to prep for the last season of Lower Decks, obviously. And some of them we've already covered in other seasons of the show. So... we'll do like a quick recap of thoughts and remind you guys of where to find them and all of that stuff. So, and yeah, and we'll probably
Nick's
be popping
so
into
happy.
Discord too, I'm sure. Yeah, I do probably need to watch some Enterprise at some point. That's true. Because is that the only show I haven't watched yet?
There's the animated series that you haven't
Oh yeah,
watched.
Prodigy. I haven't watched
Well,
Prodigy.
sorry. So there's Prodigy, and then there's a show called The Animated Series,
Oh,
TOS.
okay.
So
So
it's an
there's 3
animated version
shows
of
I haven't
TOS. So
seen
there's
yet.
3 series that you haven't seen anything
Okay.
from. Yeah.
Yeah, Phil, it's really just because we are thinking about doing 2 kind of Captain's Pod seasons where we're getting caught up, so that if somebody wanted to find our show and do like a watch along with us, that we're tackling that. That's the idea. We might change our mind, and if we do, you'll know.
It could happen. Yeah, it could happen.
I haven't seen any of the phase.
Nobody has seen any of the Phase 2 episodes
What does
because
that
they
mean?
didn't come out. So there was going to
Oh.
be in the 70s a Star Trek Phase 2, and they kind of even like built a set and stuff, and it nearly happened,
Oh.
but a lot of that got turned into the first Star Trek movie.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the motion picture.
The more you know. Actually, I think I
Right?
have that back here. Let's take a look.
Oh wait, no, I think I've got it right here.
Did we both hit it at the same fucking time?
Oh, I didn't know. That wasn't me.
Insults are effective only where emotion is present.
We're just gonna have so many.
I haven't figured out what keeps them alive yet.
I almost did the nerd clip sci-fi brony. I did.
Nerd.
Do the
Was
dance
that the first
again.
time you saw that?
All right. Well, we'll do it again. I try to line up my arm, but it's weird because I get it all. I don't get it right. That's okay.
I can't answer that.
What
I don't-
is
I
this
don't
one that
know
says
why.
Trek Roulette Countdown?
Oh, wait. Oh no, did I forget the track? It has all of them.
We just ended that season, Ian, and we've
Yeah.
never seen it.
It only got to me a couple of weeks ago, and I am so sorry, Sci-Fi Brony, that I didn't work it into the show yet. It's great.
That was fucking awesome.
Thank you,
Wow.
Sci-Fi Brony.
That was amazing.
I
Holy shit.
love the Enterprise theme.
Like editing in all of the different ones. That was really, really good. Sci-Fi Brony,
got
you're
it.
so you're so yeah, we got it.
You got it. It's in there.
We need to have a producer.
I'm the worst. We do need a
We
producer.
need a live producer. Holy
Oh,
shit.
Enterprise was in there.
Yeah, that was interesting. Where was the Enterprise?
Hang on. We can do Enterprise. Hang on. I can do that one. I can do that one. I can do that one.
Okay.
I can do that one.
What is that shit? It sounds like we're about to like march down the aisle and graduate from college. Can't.
Stop edging me.
I
Play the
can't.
whole thing.
No, I can't. No.
It's so good.
No, I can't do that.
'Cause
I'm sorry.
I've got faith. It has words to it as well. It has
No,
words. Yeah. It's the
no.
only Star Trek theme that has words
No.
other than the original series, which did have some words. But yeah, this one has words. I've got faith of the heart. I'm going where my heart will take me. I can reach any star. I've got faith of the heart.
Okay. All right, then this is for you guys, I guess.
I've got faith. A faith of the heart. I like the guitar version personally, with the guitar strum at the end. It's like super duper dramatic. Faith of the heart. Boom, 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 boom.
Oh no. I think what's amazing is like sometimes you're not the popular opinion, which has happened to me multiple times, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. But what I love about it is seeing you guys really enjoying something that is so sweet.
Oh, it was hated by everybody when it came out.
Apparently not the chat. The chat's
No,
like
the
loving
chat the chat's lying. The chat hated it as well. It's only in the last few years that we've started loving it.
We've got some R-rated stuff going on behind me.
Yeah, we
I think.
have.
Let's talk tambourines. Why are we talking tambourines wandering? Is that part of it?
The recent addition
do
is
you
the
mean?
love for the theme.
Wow.
Yes, you did. You're a liar, Sarah. You hated it. We all hated it to begin with. So, Enterprise, its title didn't even start with Star Trek. It was
Why?
because they wanted to distance themselves from being Star Trek. Like, it's fucking weird. The show
Okay.
was literally called Enterprise, and then I think in season 2 or 3 they added Star Trek and then Enterprise.
How about like Enterprise? Don't ask. Just
Yeah,
if you're
just
gonna
stop
distance
it.
yourself that much. Go away, Ian. Be a pickled onion.
I will. I could be turning into one right now.
You could.
I haven't
be.
got to the funky ones right at the bottom.
Ooh, go get it. Are you gonna go in with your fingers, or are you gonna get like a utensil for this?
No, I'll get a utensil for that. I'm not an
Okay.
animal. today.
Oh my god. Well, we have
Amazing.
unfortunately it's work to do because it's still
Oh
midday
shit!
Friday.
Yeah, we do.
So thank you guys for joining us for the live recording of Captain's Pod. Thank you guys for supporting us, even though we're going on a hiatus. I will do my very best to pop in on Discord and say hi to you guys because I will miss you. We do miss when we can't do live shows, but this is the first time that we're actually taking a break from recording. It's
Yeah, it
something
is.
that usually we don't do, but we're gonna take a stab at it. And we're excited to come back, and hopefully you guys will have fun stories to share, and hopefully I will have some fun animal stories to share with you that don't involve
Oh,
elephants.
yeah, I think
Like,
that's
I
guaranteed. Yeah.
don't like it can't go to the extreme. So
Should be called Jeremy.
Sci-Fi Brony, the next time you make a season specific, tell me about it too, and I will help. There's so much to keep. There's so much to keep in our brains.
There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
It is definitely not because it didn't rock. That was so cool.
No, that was
hadn't
amazing.
Seen that yet?
I
loved it.
uploaded it. I wasn't too sure where to put it. Yeah, and to be fair, I think this is the only live show we've done with the theme, or we've done one or two because we've missed 2 live shows. I think,
yeah,
or at least
it's kind
there's.
It's
Our live shows have been a bit chaotic the last month, so it's been tricky to stick it in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is appreciated.
It really is appreciated, especially if it's something that you love to do.
Sure.
So we're going to go on to Discord, and we'll go on to Twitch, and we'll take down our schedule so it doesn't look confusing. So we'll get to that too. If you guys see something like that's out there about us scheduled before August 9th for a live show, please tell us, because we might forget one of those locations, but we want to make sure that you guys have like appropriate and proper information. Also, please be watching and listening for Recotopia. I think there's at least one time that they're actually going to be going live on a different day. So they talk about that over on the Recotopia show, but usually they're still going to be live on Tuesdays. So Captain stays on US time while the captain is
He sure does. So no
is
bedtime
in the
for
UK.
me.
And that was actually a question. I was like, are you really in the UK? Yes, he's really in the UK.
I'm really in the UK. Yeah, I only popped over for about 5 weeks this time, and now I'm back in the UK.
Here is the question for everybody. If you could pick a season for Danae to watch full season, which would it be? I would love to know this one. You can send your answer if it's something you can do quickly. I would be happy to take a look at it. I mean, I do have a month now of not watching content, so I probably won't watch anything, to be honest. Just take a nice little mental, like it's like ginger. It's like the palate cleanser is just watching.
It's not a palate cleanser. It's so sharp. It's so sharp. Yeah.
I love ginger.
This would be great. This would be a great one. This is one I would do. Season 3, Season 4 TNG, or Season 5. Any of those, start to finish, banger after banger. Just
I'm down for it because I
Perfection.
love TNG. I love
Yeah.
this comment earlier too. I want a Shuttle Girl spinoff, right?
I love that.
That'd be really fun.
And Daniel Cardoso popped into the chat earlier as well. He snuck in and left a message.
Did he really?
Yeah,
I
it was
missed it.
after Mr. Smith's message about the shuttle pod spin-off. See if I can dig it out.
I love that JA went and looked at the size of England, which is approximately 300 miles wide at its widest point. So 300 miles from the coast with a seagull.
Okay.
That's pretty fucking funny.
I love that I guesstimated the size of the Defiant better than I could guess the size of my own country.
That's amazing.
seems fair.
Sequitur question. Speaking of the Cardassians on Deep Space Nine, I recently noticed that Garak almost never blinks. Is this a Cardassian thing or a character choice?
Oh, interesting.
Not that now that I'm paying attention, I've seen many of them blink, but Garak has only blinked twice. No matter how long he's on screen, he blinks less than Gowron.
Yeah, Gowron has very intense eyes. I think it was a deliberate choice. It's not a Cardassian thing, although they are lizards, so maybe they do blink differently.
I must say too, once I realized that actors don't like blinking, they like to make sustained eye contact to the camera. Once I realized that that is a common practice for acting, I couldn't unsee it. And just like I hold my breath,
opening your eyes really wide.
Yeah, I hold my breath when someone on the screen goes underwater instantly. It's like we're doing this, and then they go through their thing. So now I've had to stop doing this, but it's don't blink unless they blink. So just be careful. Your eyes do need to be watered. Speaking of eyes,
need to be lubricated.
Thank you all for your concern about my eyes earlier. I do have to say I have been to the optometrist, and there is nothing to be done about eye floaters. They can't get in there and laser zap them or something.
No.
It's just part of how I have to live my life. I don't know why I'm plagued with them, but I am. Oh, I meant to do this sin from Sci-Fi Brony about bringing a spider to a place where people eat and drink.
Shouldn't do that. I don't think it's a spider.
What?
I don't think it's a real spider. I think it's a Cardassian spider.
And what does this one mean? Oh my god, I never realized Barclay was Murdoch.
Murdoch is the character that he plays in A-Team.
Oh.
Howling Mad Murdoch. Yeah. And there you go.
There you go.
The more you know.
Glad I went back through those. Oh, okay, guys, we're really leaving.
No, we're doing it.
I do need to get some Enterprise in my life, and you guys are going to be along for the ride because I usually
only
watch Star Trek whenever I'm doing it for the show. So stay tuned because
He's got faith of the heart
at some point in the future. Oh God,
what?
We'll skip it.
Skip what?
The intro when we do the faith of the heart part.
No,
Yes.
We're gonna watch all of it.
No,
every single time.
You shut up and eat your pickles.
I will. And they're onions, not pickles.
Bye.
Pickles are gherkins.